Hey guys, Michael Mershon, your Ziegler licensed coach, back with you again. I know it's been a little bit of time, been actually about a month, and I'm going to be quite frank with you guys. I have been having a very, very dark, very bad month, so that has been the reason for my absence. But I know that I'm not alone. I know that if you've watched my other videos, you know that I deal with depression. I have for pretty much my whole life. So this is a particularly bad episode that just kind of knocked me on my ass and quite honestly sent me into a deep, dark hole that it took me a minute to get out of. But that led me to Depression and Discipline is the name of this episode today. And the point behind that is you'll never always be motivated, so you must learn to be disciplined. Now, if this had happened 10 years ago, then I wouldn't have gotten a gosh darn thing done. I would have called into work, and that would have been the end of it for probably a good week or so. But I'm not at a phase in life right now where I can afford to do that. So I've had to master the discipline of just simply moving forward. And if you've never dealt with depression or you have never experienced depression, then you probably have a hard time understanding it. And somebody that's close to me asked me this question: how would you describe what you're feeling? And that I had to ponder that for a second, because honestly I was in such a dark place that I didn't feel like I could find the words to adequately convey how I was truly feeling in those moments. Something that came to mind, it was like my mind had failed me, like my mind had been short-circuited and I had no more control over my level of motivation. You know, things that I've always enjoyed meant nothing to me, and I really had no desire to do them. You know, things like working out, hanging out with my kids, even eating didn't even sound appealing, which if you know me, that says something. And then in terms of effort, like obviously I have 3 kids, so I can't just lay in bed all day and be depressed. But the amount of effort it took to do very simple things, just like getting out of bed and getting dressed in the morning, it's like I'm pulling a semi behind me at all times. Like every bit of effort, every step that I take, just it has so much more weight behind it, and it's so much harder than anything that you do in normal circumstances. And I feel like that's a pretty accurate analogy, but it doesn't quite sum up how dark those times can be. It's like you're very much like you're at the bottom of a deep, dark hole. You can't see any light. You can't see out, and nobody knows you're in there. You know, you're just hanging out at the bottom of this hole, and nobody knows you're there. There's not really anything anybody can do for you in those times. You just kind of have to ride it out, and it sucks. So I'm coming to the tail end of my month to 6 weeks here, where I have just been in a really, really bad place, a very dark place, and you know, I've had to rely on my disciplines just to function and do the bare minimum to get through the day. And that's kind of what I wanted to cover in the end here, like these 3 takeaways. When you're in your darkest times, you're going to have to fall back in your disciplines, because honestly, you're not going to have the will, the motivation, the energy, anything else to do it on your own. But having the discipline built in ahead of time will help you at least survive and come out the other side without being too battered or too bruised. And then the second thing, whether you're new to this whole thing of depression or you've been around for a long time and you've been through many cycles of this, don't try to do everything. Just do the things that you must. Now, inevitably, if you end up in a dark place and you end up very depressed and you're having a very hard time functioning, then you're not going to be able to do everything, and that's okay. You shouldn't try to do everything, because that's just going to burn you out and you're going to end up further down the rabbit hole than when you started. But there's certain things that you must do, so put those at the front of your list. Make those the very first things you do when you get up, and get them done, and then you will have accomplished at the very minimum the things you must get done. And then lastly, get back to the fundamentals and don't worry about the results. Now, I'm a very results-driven person, so this is something that I have to really take a step back from when I have these times where I just get knocked down and I'm in a very, very dark place. So all I'm doing is focusing on the actions. Again, to point to, I'm just doing the things that I must. the results of those be damned. I am simply trying to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm trying to get through the next, in some case, the next minute. Sometimes I can't even see to the end of the day. I'm just trying to get through the next minute, the next 30 minutes, the next hour. For me, it's the next client phone call, the next piece of paperwork I have to do, the next showing, whatever it is. All that I'm focusing all my energy on is what I have right in front of me, because that's all I have the capacity for. And I'm just focusing on taking the action and getting it done, and I'm not worried about the results of it, because I know that if I'm consistent with the action, then the results will show up. They're not going to show up necessarily right away, but they will show up. And that's what I found, that having been through more cycles of this than I like to count, is that I always come out the other end a little bit stronger. Completely exhausted, beat down, yes, but a little bit stronger and a little bit more equipped to handle it. And that's what I want you guys to take away from this, is that there is another side. You may be right in the middle of it or just starting it right now, and I want you to have hope that there is an end. It's not going to be forever. If you're seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist, then I would definitely go and try to get in with them. Depression is largely circumstantial, so maybe it's just something right now that you need to get on an antidepressant, increase your antidepressant, add something short-term to it. Go talk to your doctor. That's what they're there for. There are tools at your disposal, and there's no shame in using them. So that would be my encouragement to you guys. We live in a crazy world. There's 1,000,001 things that are stressing people out right now, and I just want to provide a little bit of encouragement that you are not alone. You're not dealing with this alone, whether this is your first time or your 10th time or your 100th time. You're not alone. I've been through this. I know there's many other people that watch these videos and have commented on it that have been through this as well. So that's my encouragement to you guys, is that you're not alone, and you will come out the other side, and you will come out the other side stronger. So keep these 3 disciplines in mind. Again, fall back on your discipline. Don't try to do everything. Just do the things you must. It's okay in these stages to be a minimalist and to do just the bare minimum to get by. And then don't worry about the results. Just do the actions and leave the results to themselves. Anyway, guys, I'm coming out of it, so I'm hoping to be back on here more regularly. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you have not, I would love for you to like and subscribe. I'm going to do my best to continue the content and practice what I preach here. All right, guys, talk to you later.